and find out, because then that tells me that the person is really thinking about a good fit, that they really feel like that's important to them and they're going to fit well in the organization.
I would say that I usually like it when a person asks me about the company to show me that they've done some research and now they want to understand a little bit more. So, the question is all about making me understand that you've taken the time to at least get some information about the company, and now you just want to learn a little bit more. So that's, I think, what I would look for.
I'd agree with both of those. Just really questions that lead me to believe that you understand the company that you're interviewing with, and as much as you can, the role that you're interviewing for.
I agree with that. On the left side of the spectrum, I've had people come in and I go, what do you know about Eaton Corporation? And they go, oh, not much. And they're from Westlake, Ohio. And being in the internet age, you have everything at your fingertips now. On the other end, if you're a poor interviewer, we have had people that research the heck out of the company. They asked questions about some things that I wasn't even too aware of, but you knew they really worked hard. They knew the company, and when we did debriefings, all of us were like, you know what, they weren't an interviewer per se, so they weren't too good, but the questions and the research that they did, and that's pulled a lot of people over the top, and they got the job.
One more quick question. I'm looking for financial jobs, mostly equity research and financial analyst positions would be good. But most positions which I've applied to are looking for 4 to 5 years of experience. And with that in consideration, how should I apply to that company, or how should I approach them that this is the person, this is the skills which I have, but I don't have an extensive experience in this area, but I could do this because I've done this in my researches or projects which I've done in my school.
From an industrial perspective, like Eaton, you're going to be a little bit, limited on the equity research unless you go into the area like, which is in Treasury, the pension management. So that would be a perfect fit, but you're not going to have as many openings at maybe an industrial as you would at an investment firm.
I think it's about selling yourself, once again. I mean, the other thing I would do is encourage you maybe to look for jobs that are within your experience range. So you can also adjust from things like that. However, if you know someone at those places, you have to be able to sell, hey, I know you're looking for 4 or 5 years experience, but here's where I've gotten that experience. And if you're not able to tell that story, that will impede your progress. However, if you're able to really get in there, understand and know someone, make a connection personally and say, hey, this is what I can bring to the table, this is how I add value, you're more likely to at least get to that interview state.
All right, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Mama. This is a question/story.
Okay.
Years ago, I was taking a kind of interview, a series of interviews and some tests with a bank here. It was National City. It's gone. They let me take a test in computers, take a test in accounting, take a test in writing and everything. Everything was fine. And then at the end, they wanted me to use a 10 key, like a machine calculator. And I have to just put it away, and do like this and do some calculations, some addition and stuff. And I couldn't do it at all. And that would stop me from having that job. It was a kind of international exchange kind of position. But it seems to me that for every specific kind of position, they have maybe a specific type of material or knowledge to have, right?
So I think I know where you're going with it. How do you get past that if you know how to do everything else except for the 10 key?
Except the 10 key.
Right. The virtual job tryout, it's on the rise. to be honest, at different companies. And I always say, I'm so glad I'm in now, because if I ever had to test to be a teller, I wouldn't make it at all, because you have to be you have to be able to multitask across so many different things. I think, once again, you have to be able to tell your story. I can learn 10 key. That's the answer to that. Yeah, I know I didn't do well, but give me a week, I'll be back. I bet I can do this. So you have to be able to sell yourself. Always take it as an opportunity to say, I might not know it now, but guess what? I will be back. I didn't know this was a part of the interview process, and I can show you what I can do.
But I know that's what motivated me to go back to school.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
That's what motivated me to go back to school in evening program.
I'm sorry, I still can't. Can
That
you
is
step
what
closer to the
motivated
mic?
me. That's what motivated me to go back to
Oh, yeah.
school.
Absolutely.
And I feel comfortable now. It was just a story, and I'm pretty sure that they wanted me there because of my friends, because I'm a friends guy. And then I got more other opportunities, except that 10 key I couldn't get alone.
Happens sometimes.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Katie Stack, and I'm a recruiter at PNC. So I'm asking a different question here for some of the students I've been talking with today. They are here on H-1B visas, and they are excellent people and students and have great experience, but I just hire locally, and we typically, in my group, don't look at those types of candidates. And I know that they're very frustrated with the employment process. And I was just wondering if there's any types of advice that you could give these students in identifying companies that do hire H-1B visa candidates versus the ones that don't, because they can waste a lot of time and energy barking up the wrong tree, if you know what I mean.
I guess I'll go first. Unfortunately, we're just too small of a company to go through the process. We've come across excellent candidates, but unfortunately, we have just not gone through the process. And so I guess we're not one of the companies you would want to contact if that was an issue that you had to get through, just because of where we are in the stage of our firm.
I would suggest, too, that you look at the company's websites for the different positions, because certain positions, they don't sponsor. But what we do is we post with the position which ones we do. I also think it's, I know I sound like a broken record, and maybe I only have one tagline, and this is it. But you need to be able to, if you know someone, we've had people who are, if you're able to really sell yourself and your skills, then that person will fight for your sponsorship. But it's a matter of really showing who you are and being able to tell your story.
Hi, I'm Adam from Kent State University. My question isn't necessarily about the interview process, but I was wondering, what are a few things you like to see new hires do during their first year to make them stand out from the rest?
Specifically at Westfield? He's starting at Westfield.
Absolutely.
I think just put yourself into your role. I think really just, do your best and really listen to what people are telling you, try new things, give things a try, but really, really be there in the moment for your job, especially that first year. Not that you don't all the time, but really want to see you engage.
I would say in our first year, we look for students who take the time to understand our industry, who really want to understand, how we make money and what can they do to help us generate revenue, and take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. We have 45 people, and we're on one floor, so there's a lot of interaction, and we're a pretty flat organization. So the candidates that do the best, or the employees that do the best, are those that take advantage of that opportunity and get to really learn our industry and our company.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that too is that you would want to get involved in some projects that might come up that are outside of what you do on a day-to-day basis, something new that your department or your company is undertaking. If you can agree to get involved and take some initiative there, I think that is another thing that will help you stand out as one of the new hires.
I would say, starting off, there's probably going to be a 6-month learning curve just to get up to speed wherever you go. You could have a PhD, and the first week you still need to know where the copier is and how to use it. So the learning curve, getting up to speed, and then networking internally. One of the things we look for within the organization is that you collaborate. So you're going to be, you could stick in your hole all day long in the finance department, but you still need to go to accounting and get information, or maybe you're working with the legal department or human resources. So people that network and get involved are going to be the best leaders.
One of the things I like to tell the people who work for me is that you have to remember you're still building your resume. I think when you're in college, you are so focused on, hey, I have to do community service. I have to be a part of a social organization. I have to go and join a business fraternity or something to that degree. And then when you get into your job, you just stop. It's like you put the brake on and forget to go join the CFA, Society of Cleveland, or other organizations outside of just your business, or you stop your community service. And then when you're looking for that promotion or the next thing, the resume is light. So you have to make sure that you continue to build your skill set, your resume, your network, even through that first few years of your career, because it will be hectic, but at the same time, you still need it.
Hi, my name's Bobby, and I'm from Youngstown State University. My question kind of builds on what you were saying as far as promotions goes. How often at each of your companies do you evaluate? And as you were just saying, like you still put together a resume for your evaluation? I didn't think that you did that. Like you ask for a resubmission of a resume when you evaluate, during your evaluation process?
I don't know that every company does that, because a lot of places really, once you get in, it's really about networking to find that next opportunity. But what I always coach is you want to keep your resume fresh regardless, because what it does is it helps that next manager know what you did in your other position. If you can't show them your skill set, they may set you at a lower bar than where you already are. So you always want to keep that fresh and up to date for that next opportunity. And the first opportunity may not be a promotion, it may be a lateral move. So I think you have to keep yourself open to that. Hopefully it is a promotion, and if it is, I think everybody looks for different things. It just depends on what the opportunity is. Most of the time it's because you've worked your tail off and you're good at what you do. So then they promote you based on that. Typically, that's the first promotion. But
Yeah, I would say that promotions come faster in the earlier stages than they do later, because the range of positions changes and the number of them at some higher levels in the company. So it's interesting at that point, if you have other skills that you want to develop, to be able to pursue those other avenues and learn those skills and do well with that. We don't look for a resume when you are meeting with your manager for an evaluation, but we do ask for the employee to give some thought to what they accomplished this year, how did that line up against their goals, where they had obstacles, what they did to try to get around those obstacles, to be resourceful. And it's something that you have to think about in advance and perhaps even write down and submit, so that that becomes part of your permanent record at the organization. So if you're looking for another role in the company a couple years down the road, the hiring manager is going to want to understand how you've performed in previous roles. So all of that will be written up. So if there's anything that you can do to influence and shape what gets placed in that permanent record of your evaluation, you want to be able to do that.
Okay.
And to throw in one other note, the development programs help you a lot. I can tell you, especially at Eaton Corp, if you're in the leadership development program, we try to pick cream of the crop students in the first place, but once you're in that, it's a high-profile program, and you do a year, it's 3 years, but you do a year in maybe treasury, a year in financial accounting, but when you're done, you have a wide breadth of experience, and you're more molded to be a manager and move up.
The other thing I would say is we ask our employees to do a development plan every year at the same time that they're doing their, it kind of coincides when you're doing your performance management. You should have that conversation with your leader about what you do want to do and what you do want to develop. And if you have an idea of what your ultimate goal is, to work with your leader and how do you get there. Because it's not going to happen overnight. And you will have a lot of lateral moves that go with your promotional, your upward moves. But I think kind of creating that plan for yourself and kind of looking at it and having a development plan that you work with all the time will help you achieve that goal.
Okay. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Hi, I'm Sahil from Vedad School of Management. Firstly, thank you guys for coming here. It's been insightful. My question is, when students come across and give you a sales pitch or a pitch on the career fair somewhere, what do you expect and what do you look out for from the pitch?
I'm not sure I heard you. the last part of your-
When
what do we
students
get?
come across and give you a pitch during a career fair or during a job, what do you look out for and what do you expect from them?
When they're pitching themselves
Yes.
for a job, what are you expecting? So what's the big?
Internally or for their,
I mean, probably during a career fair or can you kind of like meet them somewhere outside?
I guess we would look for somebody who, I would go back to some of the same answers we've given in the past, and hopefully it doesn't sound like we're just repeating here, but I would look for somebody who really wants to be in our industry, somebody who really has a passion for it, somebody who's actually done some work and said, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is why I want to do it, and maybe give an example or two of what you've done in your college career that would have some implications to our business. So, I think when I meet somebody, it's usually, that's what I want to see, that somebody says, hey, I would like to do what you do or what your company does, and here are the reasons why.
I would say I look for somebody with a passion, and then somebody that's extroverted. They want to be out there. They want to talk to individuals. They don't want to just sit in a cube, and that's fine. Some people like that. They like to be, by themselves. But for specific programs and jobs that I heard for, I like somebody that's extroverted. They want to, like I mentioned before, collaborate, other departments, get to know the company, and they have a passion for the business.
I mean, would that really come across in a 1-minute pitch?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I'm at a career fair, absolutely. You're gonna see the people, and that goes to, as we were talking about before, know how to speak in public. I know a lot of people, they cringe all of a sudden that, they need to talk to an interviewer or what have you. But practice. The only way you get perfect is with practice. So.
Okay, thank you.
The strategy for a career fair is to go to places you don't want first. Seriously, because that's where you get your practice, and then you hit the businesses you really, really want after you've warmed up a little bit.
but I would have a thought, if we really are talking career fairs, I would have kind of elevator speak in your mind of what, I need to know that somebody's got a sense of what they really want to do, because it is only 1 minute, so if you're like, well, what do you have? Or what are you gonna, and I have had people come up to career fairs and say, what are you gonna do for me? And, I got 200 kids coming up, I could go figure that out on your own. But you need to have some sense of what you want to do and some sense of why you're talking to me and why you want to have any kind of conversation with somebody at that company. So you need to have an idea of what you want to do.
And I think another point, I just want to add one thing based on what they said, is it is a 1-minute speech. Please don't hijack the people at the tables. Because you talk to them 20 minutes does not mean you're going to get in. It just means they're standing there going, do they not see that line behind me? So, just a tip.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm George. I'm from Ohio Northern. I was just wondering, because I'm a new hire at a local branch bank, and I was wondering, because there's a position that I actually am interested in, and how would you go about talking to that person that has the position about maybe shadowing or observing them for a day or two, just to get to know the position a little bit better?
Well, I think it's helpful if you can find someone that knows them to get an introduction.
Yeah.
And, if they've been in that role, they've potentially been helped along by others in the past. Hopefully, they would be receptive to that idea. but it really needs to be on their terms. So it can't be that you would have a preconceived notion about exactly how much time that would be. You would really let them say, have you done this before? I think it would be really helpful for me to learn about this and let them structure how that might go, and then certainly be very grateful for the time that they provided too.
I think, and as long as it's I don't know that you should call the CEO
No.
and say, but I
Stop.
think I think for the most part, people want to help and people kind of like to talk about what they do and how they got where they are. So I think if you're genuine and approach that person in earnest that you really are interested in that career path, I think most of the time people will absolutely be willing to have that conversation.
I'm not sure exactly the organization that you're at, but at Eaton, at least within Treasury, we're big on cross-training. So it's something also you might want to speak about to your manager and make it a developmental goal where, hey, I want to work with capital markets and shadow somebody. That's a goal. So that would be something developmentally that would be good for you and the organization.
Great, so we have
Thank you.
time for potentially one more question. I'm getting the hook from the back.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gauri. I just wanted to know, when a resume comes before you, how much do you value a leadership quality, or if I have a community experience, what's the value on the resume for that?
I'm sorry, what type of experience?
Like leadership experience into community, or like being into some, nonprofit, as well as with the profit industry. So how would you value it if I am a candidate for a leadership position or something?
Well, I always like to see candidates with a full background, so when I see other things that are not just work experiences and they show leadership, I'm always interested in that, and I'm going to ask about it.
Sure.
I can say, one of the things we look at, I think all employers now know that people put stuff on their resume just to get it on there. They say, hey, I'm Delta Tau Delta, and, to have it on there. What we look at, though, now is what have you done for that organization? Are you a president? Have you organized fundraisers? So don't just go to these organizations for one day just to get in and say, hey, it's on my resume. Because everyone's pretty up on that now that we know if it's just there for, to try to impress us, so.
So would you say putting in the achievements of what you have achieved during that period would be helpful?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Great question. Well, thank you all. You've had really good questions, and you've really kept us going. So we appreciate your time, and thank you for the invite and for having us. And enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
I believe there will be some meat, cheese, and appetizer trays coming out here just shortly, so feel free to grab some of those. And also, this is probably your last chance. Some of our exhibitors will probably be packing up to get out of here, so probably your last 15 minutes with them. So if you have someone you want to talk to, please try to do it now, and we'll get started again at 4:45 with our keynote speech. Thank you.
Thank you.